Welcome back to the channel, guys, and yes guys, it looks like Cadillac will very much be building their very first hypercar, and this comes from a complete fact of Michael Simcoe giving a statement, who is the complete General Motors chief designer, and he had these words to say to his own proper speech where he said, could we build a hypercar? And he replied yes, and he further on said, would we like to build one? Yes, and he further on went on to say, are we building one? And the proper response was the complete expose to the fact that they are very much most likely working on a hypercar, and the proper answer, as you guys can see, was that would be giving too much away. And well, with that answer on its own, he inadvertently gave too much away, and thereby this properly might even come to light that they are properly working on their first ever hypercar, in lieu of the fact that they are trying to get into F1. And although they are facing a couple of setbacks there, nevertheless, that's motorsport. Coming back to the complete automotive world, I mean, they are most likely going to cook up their own hypercar with the fact of this very statement. I mean, what else do you need as proper hardcore evidence and proof that they are working on their first hypercar? And of course, in the past, they've unveiled some proper monstrous concepts, but sadly they didn't make it into production. And one of the most noteworthy ones is of course the Cadillac Cien, which debuted at the 2002 Detroit Auto Show. And of course, that was no mere Cadillac. It was a complete rear mid-engine mounted rear wheel drive two-door coupe with scissor doors. But it doesn't end there. It came with a massive 7.5 liter North Star custom made V12 specifically for the Cien. But that's not all. It properly made a massive 750 horsepower, and it could generate a maximum of 881 Newton meters of torque with the power going to the rear wheels. I mean, 750 horsepower back in the day in 2002, that was literally more than the Enzo of its day on its own, more than the Enzo, SLR, McLaren, the Carrera GT, the holy trinity of the 2000s altogether. Meanwhile, this being a concept was properly pitching out nearly 800 horsepower on its own with a 7.5 liter V12. And one of the best things was it could run on 8 or fewer cylinders depending on its complete light load, meaning that it could very much go the distance in a very efficient manner. And well, this opened a very good gate, i.e. a very good door for Cadillac. But sadly, due to the lack of developmental funds and the proper question of an existence of a complete customer base, due to the fact of an extremely high price back in the day, of course, which was $200,000 for one of these, and well, in light of all these proper setbacks, they completely cancelled the production of the Cien. But nevertheless, it would have been monstrous to see this thing come to life. But nevertheless, here we are just 2 decades later with the fact that they might be very much making their very own hypercar. And if you ask me, they very much are. I mean, that answer on its own, that would be giving too much away, inadvertently gave too much away on its own. And with the fact of the complete all new upcoming C8 ZR1, which is inbound most likely for Monterey Car Week, and with all these plethora of V8s that they have at their hand, they have a very good recipe to properly chuck out a proper monstrous American hypercar on its own from Cadillac. That will be something monstrous to see, and hopefully it will be something in line of the Cien, but most likely higher up. And of course, it will have higher tech or new gen technology and so and so. But nevertheless, in lieu of them properly getting into F1, they have properly hinted at this. But if you ask me, they are definitely working on a hypercar right now with the fact of them properly getting into F1 or trying to get into F1. And although they have been facing a couple of setbacks, that's motorsport. Coming to the complete automotive side, if you ask me, as I said once and I'll say it again, they are most likely definitely working on a hypercar. And well, coming from the proper mouth of Michael Simcoe himself, who is the complete chief designer of General Motors altogether, I mean, what other proper hardcore proof do you need to say that they are working on a hypercar altogether? And well, only time will tell what's inbound. But until then, we'll just have to make do with the information that a Cadillac hypercar is in the works. Well, what do you guys think? Comment below. And well, thanks a lot for watching, guys. Remember to hit that sub button and click the bell to ensure you don't miss out on any future videos. Thanks a lot for watching, guys. See ya.